you will notice that with the new way of submitting photos for Shoot to Serve, it's a two-step process. That first step being to submit your JPEG just like normal. But then there is this new second idea of submitting your raw photo as well. And so I'm going to show you Ben's comment here about that and show you exactly what that means and how to submit for shooting for the Shoot to Serve opportunities and for any submissions. That's what I'm trying to say. Anytime you want to submit pictures on the forum, this is how to do it in Lightroom. The comment that Ben made about submitting pictures, he said, okay, Caitlin submitted DNG RAW files to me via the DFR. What in the world is DFR? I'll show you that in a second. And if you have a raw file, then I highly recommend and appreciate if you do submit that raw file. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show us first how to get that raw file outside of Lightroom and to get a JPEG file outside of Lightroom. We'll get both of them, and then then we'll talk about what this DFR thing is. Okay, so we're going to jump here to just a random assortment of pictures from the last Pro Critique, actually. And let's take this here shot and experiment with exporting it. So we've edited a picture. It's all perfect, let's say. Now we want to submit it on the Shoot to Serve forums. How do we do that using Lightroom? Well, the first step, obviously, is we find out where we want to export the picture to. And I recommend, instead of choosing a folder later, choose a specific folder. And I would recommend you put it in your Pictures folder in a subfolder called Lenspiration Forums. Then I would recommend renaming your file. It doesn't really matter. You can always keep it the name as it is. But I have all these different presets set up, and I like to use a file name that includes my name. And in this particular image, it would have some special numbers at the end, but this particular image, because it was not taken by me, does not have those numbers included, so I'm not going to worry about it. That's fine. It's a good image name for my file. Video. Am I exporting a video? No, I'm not. So I'm not going to change any settings with video. File settings. So here is where we can limit the file size. And this is very important because, as you probably already know, on the forums, when you scroll down here, if for some reason you try to attach a picture and you get an error, it probably means because the picture itself is larger than the allowed limit. Maximum file size allowed is 2048 kilobytes. 2048 kilobytes? Well, let's go over here and let's limit the file size to 2000 and, well, let's not do 48, let's just do 2000. Okay, so this is going to be the best way to get our pictures to be always 100% of the time will upload to the Lenspiration forums. And of course, in this situation, we want to keep it JPEG. Okay, so image sizing here. If you notice on the Shoot to Serve forums, Ben is always talking about, I want the largest file I can possibly get, and he's talking about dimensions. He wants to have all the pixels in as much as he possibly can. So we're not going to resize the picture to fit a specific dimension, pixel dimension. We're just going to keep it like that and let file sharing take care of the size in terms of space on the form. Okay, then output sharpening. What I generally do is I sharpen 4, and I'm not printing it. I am sharing the picture on the screen, and the ultimate purpose is going to be used for screen. So I would choose for the screen. And then the amount of sharpening kind of depends on your tastes. I think that high adds a little too many halos, like white edges and stuff to objects, so I usually choose the standard, but high is fine. It kind of depends on the picture and what I'm planning on using it for. Metadata, I kind of keep the defaults. Watermarking, Ben doesn't want my watermark on it. He will be watermarking it later, so there's no need to set the watermark. And then in post-processing, what do I want to happen after the picture exports? Let's go ahead and show it in Explorer. So now I've gone through all of the settings, not that difficult. And I'm going to go ahead and add a preset so that it will remember these settings for the shoot to serve in the future. So I'm going to call this shoot to serve submissions. And let's put that under user presets. Create it. And now here we have shoot to serve submission as a preset. So go ahead and say an export, and we're going to see this actually happening. As it exports one file, bingo, there it is. In my pictures folder, Lenspiration forums folder, here I have a JPEG that is less than 2 megabytes that I can now upload to Lenspiration. That's the JPEG only. The second thing is we need to do the RAW. So let's go ahead and jump back over here and export. Export location, the same location. File naming, same file name. We're not exporting video. The file settings now, instead of JPEG, we want to do, let's see, either original, if you do not want to keep the edits, but I suggest, and there's no raw like option here, and that's because RAW is a Canon specific term. For Nikon, it's NEF, and every brand has kind of their own little file name extension there. So what I recommend is that you use DNG. And DNG, what that does is it takes the original raw file and it adds all the edits that you have created in Lightroom, and it merges them into one big file and gives it to Ben, and then Ben can open it and he can separate them again. And in his Lightroom, he can see the changes that you've made and tweak them himself. So I suggest DNG, even though on the Shoot to Store forums it says like RAW, use DNG. And the defaults here are pretty, like, I've not experimented with this very much. I think if you keep it medium or not, medium size, I think that's for like previews and stuff, it keeps the file a little bit smaller. And then here we have image sizing. You cannot downsize raw files. And output sharpening, you can't sharpen. Evidently, you have to keep all the metadata. You can't watermark, and I do want to open it in Explorer. So now I'm going to add shoot to serve DNG. Create my little preset there, bingo, and click export. So now that exports, and I've got both of my files here. Now notice the size of this picture. It is over 2 megabytes, 2,000 kilobytes. So therefore, if I were to try to upload this to the Shoot to Serve forum, it would not upload. You'd have an error. So that is why Ben created the DFR link. And what that stands for is a Dropbox file DFR request, a Dropbox file request. So he's basically letting you upload a picture to a different location than on Lenspiration itself. And this folder is private and is unique only to Ben Holmes. He's the only one who can view it. Anyone who uploads to it cannot view the pictures there. They're just being uploaded there. And that's very important because when you're uploading DNG, your raw files, when you're giving away your raw files, the person you're giving them to could essentially do with them whatever they want. And so that's why we trust Ben, and we understand that he, as he says, will only use it for the things that he says he will use it for, sharpening character. So that is how you do the export. And then to find that DFR file, all you have to do is just at the beginning here on the Shoot to Serve forum page, I'm sorry, that's Q&A. Here we go. So just lenspiration.com/shoot to serve. There will be these sticky notes up here at the top. And the sticky notes here, you just have to click Verse Pick Opportunity Q&A. And when you click on that, it brings up the details for how to submit the pictures. And here he gives his DFR link. So all you have to do is click on that and follow the instructions to upload your raw file to this particular location. So that allows you to upload your DNG, and of course you can just upload like normal your JPEG at the end of a topic here, and that will allow you to submit both JPEG and DNG for the Shoot to Serve. Now it's very important, he makes it very clear, Ben makes it very clear on this Shoot to Serve Q&A, only submit RAWs with the DFR file, only submit JPEGs onto the Lenspiration forum. So that's just kind of the rule with submitting raw files, and it's only necessary to upload one file. So you can upload a JPEG if you want, or you could upload the raw file, the DNG file if you want. But I heartily recommend, so that everyone else can see your submissions, that you do both. And as you can see with Lightroom, it's very easy to do both. And as you can see here, if I go to export, I can go right to my preset and submit this as JPEG. Notice how all the settings changed. And then I can click export, and it will go right to the same folder. If it's a different picture, it would have a different name. And then as soon as I'm ready to export as DNG, I can just click that. Bingo, it changes all the settings, and it's a breeze to be able to shoot or to submit both the JPEG and the DNG file. Now this bugs me. I'm going to rename it to be JPEG. And now it's extremely clear. And if ever in the future I want you to submit things other than just DNG or JPEG, well, you can just create a preset. So as far as I know, that's all I wanted to say about how to export and downsize with Lightroom, and I think that will make it much easier for you to submit pictures on the Shoot to Surf forums.